probability, we had a couple of different types. So this is overview, okay? We describe this as AND type probability, and for AND type probability, the events could be dependent
or independent.
Or independent. Okay. And for dependent events, this is also sometimes described as let's see, without replacement.
Thank you.
So for AND type probability, it can either be dependent or independent, and dependent events can also be described as without replacement. Classic example is you have a deck of cards. What is the probability that you draw a heart and then draw a king? Okay, for the second card that you draw, the probability has now changed because there are only 51 cards in the deck. That's an example of that happening. For the OR type probability, this is usually just one thing happening where it can happen a number of different ways, and we're going to, I should write this in here, multiply for these. Multiply probabilities when you're dealing with an AND type situation, and for an OR type situation we are going to add the probabilities. What were the two distinctions within the OR type probability?
Exclusive and inclusive.
Great. So mutually exclusive or inclusive. All right. And for the inclusive probabilities, what did we have to remember to do?
For the exclusive? Oh, for inclusive.
Right. Subtract the overlap. Subtract the overlap. Okay. And for the OR type probabilities, we are going to add. All right. AND type probability, OR type probability. Haley, you brought this up. You can have a probability question from combinations of two groups. And there was one last type of probability that we talked about. What?
The ones with the cards?
Cards is, yeah.
The one where you do
Oh.
like
Yeah, the
the
one
ones
with
with
the
the
percents.
yeah,
Like
the percentages.
you take this out of percent, you have they have to equal 100.
Okay. Binomial.
Oh yeah, okay.
Alright, and so maybe in red here I'll write, if it's combinations of two groups, it's going to look something like this. Your answer, 10C2 times 8C1 over 18C3. Alright, so combinations of two groups, your answer ends up looking something like that. And for binomial probability, your answer ends up looking something like, we would have 5C3, the number of ways it can occur, and then times maybe the probability of something happening to the third, and the probability of that not happening then to the second. Okay, so an example of what a binomial probability would look like. It's it can be described by binomial probability if one of two things can happen. And frequently the question says, what's the probability of flipping exactly 3 heads out of 5 tosses, or something like that. That word exactly clues you into that. Overview, probability.